Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to the channel if this is your first time. This is the 10th final video on the Great Unhaul. So this is an epilogue. I'm not going to show up any books. I was thinking about you taking some books out of what I've left or what I've getting rid of and kind of referencing them, but I'm not going to do that. The ones I'm getting rid of are in 8 boxes over there, and the ones I'm keeping need to go back up in the loft. I am thoroughly exhausted, but I wanted to just reflect on what the process was, what it felt like doing it, why the whole thing about having a book collection and collecting. I did a video a number of months ago, probably about 8 or 9 months ago, which was saying it was about collecting and saying that collecting wasn't hoarding. And I think it's called In Praise of Collecting. So talking about why I collect what I collect and saying how exciting and fun it is if you find something in a shop that you've been looking for ages, you know, in a second-hand shop or something, or a charity shop, or if something comes out and it's someone that you collect and you didn't know there was, you know, it could be like an old reissue, like for example Dark Carnival coming out next year is quite exciting because it's been unavailable for ages, by Ray Bradbury, that kind of thing. So collecting can be exciting from that point of view, but having a book collection brings in the issue of space. So same as if you had a vinyl collection, it would be just more of a physical challenge than having a CD collection. So if you're looking at physical media for music, then vinyl takes up a lot of space. So people often have that issue when they're doing that. And if you've got a book collection, I've got a massive CD collection, by the way, which I never talk about on the channel, but I've got tons of CDs. Although saying that, I do the 100 album challenge, which is connected to that. But I don't talk about the CDs loads. But I have got a lot of CDs, and I've kept the DVDs as well that never get shown on TV or some of the foreign ones. So I've got lots of DVDs as well. So I've got space taken up by those kind of things. But definitely what takes up the most space is my DVDs. My books. My books. And it was high time that I went through all of the boxes, which I did, and I brought them downstairs for most of them. And then when I got to the end of it, to the last video I did, which was the 9th video, they were taken out of the boxes and brought out, so that I didn't take the whole box down because I realised that that last bit I didn't have to do that. So it was quite a rigmarole. I've done it, and I just thought it'd be interesting to talk about the whole concept of collecting books and what you collect, what you decide not to collect. Some things I've kind of let go as well. So building collection. I'll tell you what. I'll go from this idea of enthusiastic shopping as well. When you shop for books, when you go out looking for books. I mean, usually when I go for a day trip or a holiday, I like going in bookshops. So if I find some, if I have a good week. So like when we went recently to Liverpool, Manchester and York, I came back with about 26 books. That was for the whole week. And that sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. So I was aware it was a lot. But if you think about it, that's if you're constantly most days you're going into bookshops. I was only buying 3 or 4 at a time. The one time there was one bookshop I found which was an insane bookshop. It was like loads and loads of floors, and it was fantastic. And I did buy more books in that one. I bought more, like 10 or something. But these were little short moments of yay when I'd find 4 or 5 books, and they build up over a week if you're spending the whole week jumping in and out of bookshops. So even when you're trying to be conservative, or you're trying to rein it in, if you like, you can still have a week on holiday or something and discover that you've bought that many. So it's very easy to have that enthusiasm when you're looking for stuff, or you're just trying to add to your holiday by going into a bookshop and hopefully finding something. And you know, I've talked before about FOP's two books for £7 offer. 2 books for £7 is very easy to walk away with 6 books, and you've only spent 20 quid. I mean, that kind of thing, those kind of bargains help you to collect books quickly, and that's in a big shop like FOP. I mean, second-hand shops, sometimes you can find really good books for £2. You know, a lot of Oxfam shops at £1.99. Charity shops sometimes. I mean, the charity shop down the road from me, for ages, I was selling books for 20p each. Now it's 50p each, or 3 for £1. But you know, it's very easy to buy a lot of books and end up with a lot of books when you've got that sort of stuff around you. So depending on what you want to find, if you want to find rare books as well. So I recently, just to kind of celebrate a payout I received, I spent £35 on one book, which was a rare book I'd looked for years, and I thought, let's go for it. So that was a rare thing. I don't normally spend that kind of money on one book. I normally spend literally like £2. So enthusiasm when you're shopping is an element of this, because you can end up having a lot of books by accident, and then when you're trying to thin out the collection, you just think, well, I legitimately wanted those books, so what do I decide I don't want or can do without? So that ties into the idea of what is your collection? What do you want your collection to be? So I've now got to the point where I'm not trying to have the best bookshop collection, the best book collection in the world. You know, there's some things I've shaved off and thought, okay, I'm not going to worry about having lots of those books or lots of these books or whatever. So I am interested in lots of different things. The main thing I read in fiction is science fiction, and I've got quite a broad spread of the authors, old and new, in my collection now. So that's been kind of augmented over the last few years. But I'm starting to have a bit of a horror collection as well. I have got some fantasy stuff. I'm developing an interest in crime fiction, so I've got lots of crime books now. I've probably got, I don't know, probably about 30 crime books now. So again, that can build up really quickly, really easily, especially with crime, because you can find them so easily around secondhand shops and that. So that's very easy to build up. So again, you know, you think, well, do I want like every kind, all the classics in these different genres, or am I just going to worry about my favourite things and then sort of sell them on once I've read them, or give them away, or just borrow from the library? I mean, I'm interested in history and philosophy, ethics, sociology. I'm interested in all those different things as well. I'm interested in film. I'm interested in animation. I've built up a cartoonist collection that was over 120 books. I don't know how much it is now, but last time I counted, it was over 120 books. I've got rid of some, and I bought a few since. It's probably lower more than higher, but yeah, I've got many cartoonist books. I'm going to go through them soon, maybe next week. We'll see how many I've got still, but that's quite a passion of mine. And I'm a little budding cartoonist as well. I like to draw. I'm nowhere near as good to be published, but I do love cartooning and caricatures and that sort of stuff. So, and I've got I've got a box full of Mad magazine paperbacks as well, and Mad magazines are in that chest over there as well with my Twilight Zone magazines. So, you know, there are certain things I've collected over the years. You know, certain authors I like collecting. I like to be, there's about 5 or 6 authors that I like to be completist with. If I find something by them, I'll get it. And some I've been like more, like some I've passively collected, and some I've been more driven to collect. So I've looked for them and ordered them online and stuff like that. So people like Ray Bradbury and Harlan Ellison and Robert Sheckley, Richard Matheson, Ursula K. Le Guin now. I'm getting as many Ursula K. Le Guin books as I can. I've been collecting Stephen King for a long time. I've got almost everything he's done. The only things I haven't got, I've only got one of the Dark Tower books, but I've got almost everything else. So it's, and Terry Pratchett as well. I've got a whole tub of Terry Pratchett. So there's about 25 books in there. So it's very easy to do that. And you end up trying to figure out, well, what do I value the most? I read more fiction than non-fiction, so I was a bit harsher on my non-fiction this time when I went through to find stuff to get rid of. And I got rid of lots of history books that were great history books and really good philosophical books that I thought, no, I can do without them because I'm not going to reread them as much, whereas some of the fiction stuff, I might reread those. So I had to make a decision about what I thought my collection should be. So then you're left with what is now your collection. And, I do like having books. I like having things to choose to read. I like thinking about them after I've read them, even if I'm not reading them again. and seeing them there. I like lending them out. I also like finding them cheap to buy for people as well. That's pretty cool. But yeah, recently we did a group read of 1984, and I wouldn't have done that if I didn't have a copy. So I wasn't necessarily planning to reread that this year, but I reread it again, which was really cool. And I've just found, when I was going through these books to see which ones I was getting rid of, I found my copy of Jaws, and that's been in discussion at the moment in a Voxer group I'm in. I could reread Jaws this month. So, sometimes having something something might spark your interest to keep something. And I'll tell you what, as far as collecting goes, and my cartoonist thing, I just noticed something down there that I'm going to just mention quick. Sometimes there are these things that come up and you just think, one, when you find out about it, you find it like amazing that it even exists. And then if you're already collecting that kind of thing, then these little bits of magic that you can add to your collection. So this is Dr. Seuss Goes to War, and it's editorial cartoons that Dr. Seuss did. You can tell it's Dr. Seuss from the drawing style during the Second World War. So these are political cartoons by Dr. Seuss. How cool is that? So when you got your radar up for different types of book because you collect them, sometimes you can get these little gems as well. So yeah. I've just been through all of my books and I've definitely been as harsh as I can be, I think, and got rid of some things I definitely would have kept if I was going to keep trying to have every reference book I wanted and every general coffee table book I wanted, every kind of book I wanted, to go as deeply as I could, all those kind of things. I'm not doing that now with my collection. I'm just keeping the things that I can genuinely, honestly say I value, as well as stuff I haven't read yet. So yeah, that's my conclusion to the big unhaul. Let me know down below what your attitude is to your book collection and whether or not you feel like you add to it needlessly, or you add to it in the hope that you can have a lot of different facets to your collection that you might not have built up yet, or if you just focus on certain authors or certain styles of literature or books. I'd love to know. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye.